Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to Play It Painted Live. If you guys caught the last part of the feed here, I was playing a video game. And, hey, as it turns out, it sounds like little guy went to sleep. So we are going to get to do at least a little bit of painting tonight. So we'll paint for, I don't know, we'll paint for about an hour or so, or, at least until we get bored or whatever. So it's going to take me a few minutes to set up. A couple of fair warnings for you. I need to do a little bit of airbrushing tonight, so we're not going to be talking a whole lot. We're just going to really be kind of prepping the models for the rest of the painting. But before we do that, let me catch you guys up on some of the other stuff I've been painting off camera, because no longer doing any challenges, so we're not doing any updates. So first up, I finished these Takahashi miniatures. So here is Tough Cookie. Oh my gosh, I love these minis, you guys. They're just phenomenal. They're just so great. I could probably, it looks like on camera I need to do a little bit cleaner job on the base, but you can see the mini here is just great. Love the detail on this mini. She's going to be great in Anima Tactics or Relic Knights or whatever I decide to use that model for. And then to finish off the set, I did the band model. So here's the band model. And again, just the character of these models is fantastic. I love, so good. Had so much fun painting them. So there you go. So those are done. I'm going to use them for other stuff. Takahashi University doesn't really, or Tentacle Bento or whatever, doesn't really use painted miniatures or of any kind, really. So I'm going to use them for other stuff. And tonight we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of airbrushing. So I'm going to apologize for the sound. I'm going to turn this on. There we go. Well, I see you. So your client's still going. I need to close that. Okay. Quit that. And let me show you some of the next stuff that I'll be working on, because we're really gonna kind of prep it. So I picked up some more Aleph. This is Machon, but I call him Macho Man because he's one letter away from being Macho Man. And you can see, I'll explain the black primer here in a minute. The net rod. Nothing really exciting about that. This is I don't know what this is called. This is called a Yudbot. A Yudbot. Okay. And this is Achilles. So what we're going to do tonight is we're not going to finish any of these models. We're going to just I'm going to show you a little bit of zenithal, highlighting how I prepare these models to paint them for my Aleph scheme. And I've been kind of floundering back and forth on my Aleph scheme. I went from the bone color to the bone color to the blue color, then back to the bone color, and I still love the bone color. So tonight that's what we're going to paint. I'm going to show you guys how to do the bone color a little bit here. And yeah, that does a black undercoat. So I had to prime these earlier today, and I could not break out my airbrush. I actually had to prime these with P3 black, and it's not a very good prime job. It did not, you can see like on Macho Man there, you can see that little silver area where he didn't get too much primer. But again, we can fix that. It's not a big deal. But you start from black when you're doing this particular scheme, and we're gonna work our way up to kind of a bone color. So I'm gonna break out two colors in particular: light brown and aged white. And I'm also gonna use. I'm also gonna have just regular white here on standby. We're not really gonna do a whole lot with that. I may need to do a little bit of cleanup on my airbrush before we really get started here. So let me make sure my airbrush, the needle is clean. Now, see, that's why we do this. Because I got to do a little bit of cleanup here. So if you guys have any comments or anything, any questions, go ahead and send them to me on YouTube. You can send me on the YouTube comment, or you can at Play It Painted on Twitter. I'm going to do a little cleanup on the needle. So I pulled the needle out of the gun here. This airbrush has taken a beating. This is a Masters G233 airbrush. It's one of the cheaper airbrushes, but I swear by it because the parts are so cheap that I knowing that this airbrush is just about done, I'm gonna go ahead and order it for less than the cost of having to replace the needle, just the needle and the ferrule tip. So I'm gonna put this needle back in carefully. Make sure I've got decent action. Okay, and I'm gonna tighten the screw down. Okay, and I'm gonna put the casing back on. Okay, that's pretty good. Got pretty good action there. Just put a touch of alcohol in to get my pattern down. Really soft spray. Getting a really soft spray. It's not the end of the world, but that's actually based on what I'm trying to do here. That's not too bad. I probably should. No, it's okay. I got it. There you go. Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, so now let's go ahead and start with the light brown. Now, when you do this type of airbrushing, you don't really want to go too full into your cup here. It should really just kind of be the bottom part of that, if that. I mean, this is even more product than I intend to use here. That's probably okay. I'm going to give this a little practice spray here. Make sure my pattern is good. It's really soft. I'm going to have to adjust. A little too soft for even for the kind of highlight work I want to do here. It's really soft. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to do zenithal highlighting, like I was saying, and just planning on hitting the higher areas of the model. I'll explain my my intended color scheme here for Achilles in a minute. You can see a little bit of color going down there right now. Ooh. Okay. Keep this fairly clean. There we go. All right. I'm going to do the sword. So doing the sword, because the sword is going to be a much different color, but what I'm really doing when I'm applying this color is making sure that I don't have a black undercoat for when I do apply the sword's colors, because sword is going to be like like the regular lightsaber looking stuff that they do in Infinity. Just want to make sure I've actually got reasonable coverage on the sword. And the armor, I'm just kind of coming in high and tight. There we go. It's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good so far. Just wish I can get my pattern just to be a little bit bigger. Might have to thin a little bit or turn my pressure up. Once again, thanks for joining us here at Play It Painted Live. We are just doing a little bit of airbrushing at the moment. There we go. Much better. So now that I'm able to get a good even coat, there we go. Okay, so you can see that coat coming down. Let's go ahead and do the rest of these. Macho Man. That is a weird joint there. Okay. A couple more models to go. Let's go with the Yidbot. Okay, good bot. And finally, the net rod. Pretty good. Okay, so for evenness, back on Achilles here. One more on Macho Man. Okay, so you can see how this is coming together. So, oh, sorry, one more layer here. All right, so now let's go ahead and clean out this color, and we're going to step it up to the aged white. This is just going to be another highlight, so nothing different here. And then I'm going to show you how I actually go about, because one of the difficult things about this Aleph scheme is that you're essentially painting white, but you need to shade it with black. You want all the little fine details in the armor to come out. So the reason why I go with black as the prime coat, when you guys probably know that I tend to prime white most of the time, is because I want to have a little bit of that kind of a pre-shading type effect with starting with a black model. I don't do this, again, this isn't a terribly common practice for me, but when I went about this Aleph painting, that's what I went with, because I wanted to have that pre-shading effect. All right, so now we're going to go with aged white. This is just going to be a really simple highlight, and then we can move on. I might actually, I don't think probably won't do any white on the model, but we'll see. Put a little aged white in the cup here. Make sure that we're spraying out okay. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry for all the weirdness of trying to get this night together. But it's just, we're just here painting. It's not, the past few shows have been, I was this close to not doing a show at all tonight because, for one, my son wouldn't go to sleep, and two, of action to report on, So, people joining the show or anything like that, I do appreciate the view. Just not a lot of comp show lately. So you can see there's the aged white going down. There we go. All you really need to do, it's not going to take very long to do these next couple of highlights. Let's do this. So the aged white looks pretty. That looks pretty Aleph-y, right? There is such a word, Aleph-y. Finally, the net rod. All right, so we're going to continue with the rest of the airbrushing step. I'm going to clean this color out real quick. I think I'm going to do just a really, really minute bit of white. And then I'm going to give the bases just a little bit of a cheat spray just to get them started. So yeah, this isn't rocket science. There's nothing really big going on here. It's almost just a dirty, quick and dirty base coat for these models. Then they're going to see a wash. They're actually going to see an ink wash. Then seeing highlighting. It's at that point that I actually stop. I'll paint the faces in and all that stuff. So the actual painting will begin once the majority of all this airbrush work is done. All right, it's looking pretty good. And then we'll move over to white. And we're only going to do just the smallest amount of white on these miniatures. I mean, it's not, a lot of times it doesn't even, this last highlight doesn't even matter just because of the size of these models and how intricate the detail is. We're just going to do it. Load it up just a hair of white here. There we go. And I'm going to do on Mr. Guy here. Called Mr. Guy, right? Good job. There, we can see where the down there, and then the rest is the white highlight. Just gonna pick parts of the model where light should pick up. Spray a little on there. Not all that precise, but you can see. I mean, it's. I know on camera this just looks like nothing. But trust me, something's happening. Okay, paint that in. Yeah, all I'm going to show you guys tonight is just how I do the base. And how to do stuff like this zenithal highlighting on the models. There you go. Last but not least, the net rod. Cool. All right. So now I'm going to do a little cheat code on the bases. Really just to get them started, so that when we're painting the miniature, it's just one less thing for us to do. Then you guys get to laugh when I actually show you what my plan is with the Achilles model. So, just cleaning out the color here. This is like, you'll notice airbrush, start incorporating more and more airbrush into your painting routine, that there's more of it seems to have to do with keeping the instrument clean and just making sure it's not clogging, that you don't have any dried paint on the needle. So it's more about that than it is actually just kind of getting the technique down, because pointing and shooting is a muscle memory skill. A lot of times, knowing what type of pressure you want to put on the trigger, how far you need to pull back, and then your distances and working your angles. So I'm not denying that it takes skill, because it does take some skill, but it's not, airbrushing just isn't, I don't know. For maybe I'm a purist, but I still think working with the brush takes a little more talent and patience if you're going to achieve some really nice effects through just standard brush painting. But that's just me. And bear in mind that I'm a guy that does a ton of airbrushing when it comes to getting these models, a high volume of models finished in a short amount of time. The airbrush end for that kind of stuff is just, I really like. All right. So now, I need a gray, so I'm going to use this US gray here. And it's just going to give me the most basic little cheat. All right, so here we go. You can see I'm just giving myself a little cheat there on the basing. It's not really a cheat, it's just a base coat to help us expedite painting up these models. Oh, come on. I'm not sure why I have a little atomization problem with my gray. There we go. All right, there we go. Okay, so airbrushing part's done. Thank goodness for that, and our ears and all that stuff. So, hooray. Just going to do a quick clean out of the airbrush, and I'm going to show you just the start of how we do the armor, the Aleph, that, you know, Aleph kind of Ghost in the Shell style armor that I love. I love that I just have this natural aversion for studio paint schemes. You know, I like to try to do my own thing, but in this case, I just happen to exactly, you know, to like that bone color that the studio is using. I think it's fantastic. Bone, and you're doing bone and black gray and you know, some purples, and really cool. All right, almost done cleaning up, guys. I'm going to show you what else we do here. All right, in fact, I'm just going to let that let my cleaner hang out in there for a minute, and we'll get the next part ready. And I'll just spray this sucker clean. All right, so I'm going to swirl it around in there. Airbrush cleaner, a lot of people tell you just stick with alcohol or Windex or whatever. Those are fine. I mean, those do clean out the brushes, but I find that if you do happen to come across a bottle of airbrush cleaner, just keep one bottle of it and just use it for kind of the step in your cleaning. And it's nice. It does kind of help flush out all colors and you know, clumps of paint and all that stuff from your instrument. Okay, so here we go. Done with that. Now we're going to go on to the wash step here, and I'm going to take this little, I use like the bottom of a 50 to mix this. Put my regular palette out and get some water, and we'll put a couple of this out. So, and load YouTube comments, although I don't think I'll have any at this point. Well, actually, let me get around to what I do. Let me show you what I'm going to do. So, whoa, all out of sorts tonight, guys. Okay, so I need to find my standard ink here. It's hiding from me at the moment. There it is. Okay. So I take some of this black ink and I'm going to dilute it down just so that it's enough, at least 1-to-1, so that it's going to flow into the cracks and crevices and all that stuff. So 2 drops, really, this is, I guess, 2 drops into 4 drops. And I'm going to use this, I'm going to use my Reaper Sable brush here, which sadly is not a great brush. Kind of disappointed in this Reaper brush, but whatever. Okay. So I'm going to do this. Give a nice flow mix here. Woo. Make sure it's, you know, it's going to run properly. And rod. And what you want to do is, you know, you can see I'm applying it, proving how thin this is. I'm gonna take basically 1 brush load and run it over the majority of the model. Now, if I was being a little more precise, I could just come in and hand paint all those crevices in with the ink, and that'd be a lot cleaner. Works also. I mean, if it's, as long as it's thinned properly, it should be okay. And we're going to do a little bit of highlighting to make sure that it looks correct. Okay, so I'm actually going to get a little bit of light effect there in the, so you see, just kind of using this ink as an ink wash. And we're going to do that. Oh, left one little leaflet out. There we go. And then we're going to move over to Achilles here. And I'm just going to do his armor. I'm not going to do the sword because, again, the sword's like a light sabery type looking thing. See, this is a very simple technique. Doesn't require a lot of precision to do. And you know, if you really were going fast, you could kind of just stop here and just be happy with the, you know, all the detail kind of lined out for you as a consequence of doing this. You could do that, just not as exciting. And just for the hell of it, I'm gonna run some of this black ink wash down here in the base. Again, these are secret weapon alien whatever bases, which look fantastic. There we go. Now, one thing you can see is you can see how dull that color is now. Now that it's been ink washed. We're going to get some of that back with a highlight, but anyway. So again, this is a thinned wash that I made using Vallejo Game Color black ink, and about a 2-to-1 dilution in water. So just moving this along. This is going to take a little while to dry. So let's just kind of stretch my arms for a bit and look at comments. That sort of thing. I think Macho Man is really cool. I know it's Machown, but he's Macho Man. He's one letter away from being Macho Man. And he's pretty macho. Pretty cool. Okay, so there's that. And finally, the Yudbot. Really cool looking thing. I hope I can use it. It's a cool looking model. It freaks me out that I didn't realize that these veins actually attach to the side of its head. Had I known that, I would have pinned them. But I just went ahead and attached them without pinning them, and I know I'm going to regret it. I know something's going to happen where it's going to snap off, and I'm going to be so mad to have to re-glue that. But whatever, right? Okay. So, we're going to let that dry. We're going to check comments. For those of you just tuning in, thanks for joining Play It Painted Live. Bit of a weird show tonight. Didn't really get much chance to prepare. You guys might have seen me playing a video game earlier. Oh, I don't need to know my... Okay. Let's see. No comments yet, and no comments on either Twitter or the Q&A, but that's fine. So we're going to let these dry for a minute. I'm going to show you guys something else that I've got too. I picked up some of these Reaper Bone miniatures, and these are going to be, I'm going to use these as camouflage tokens. So in fact, maybe I'll spray these down while I'm waiting for that ink wash to dry. So let's get these three down. And I'll tell you that I'm kind of going for like a grayscale look. So we're gonna go with just light dustings of grays, kind of get us. Let me turn the airbrush back on. So we're gonna go with some light dustings of grays, and then a very fine highlight, and that's gonna get us where we need to be. Okay, so I'm just gonna go with this rock color from Minotaur. And again, we're just gonna do a zenithal highlight. That's it. It's really nothing else here to do. I'll go rock, and I'll go one, maybe concrete slab or something from Minotaur. Put a few drops of this down. Okay. Need to adjust my spray pattern here. There we go. Okay, so this is just going to be really light dusting. I don't even think you can pick this up on camera. And if you can't pick it up, it's kind of a good thing. See, I'm just talking trash now. There we go. There we go. So nothing, again, nothing spectacular going on here. Man, that makes me so mad. The fact that I couldn't access my airbrush earlier. Could have given these a much better prime coat using the airbrush. Okay. It happens, right? We're going to be all right. We're going to be okay. Where's the cleaner thing? Okay. Let's just do that. There it is. Okay. Man, I really need to get black up in there. This is not working out. That Reaper, I may have to come in and just put some black in there, physically just manually put black in the underside. The whole model is kind of predicated on being a shadow. So I may have to abort this. But I don't know, give me something to do while that ink wash is drying on the models I intend to paint. All right. Okay. So, yeah, I know. Sorry. It really has not been the best show ever. That's okay. All right, so now I need a highlight color, and I'm digging around my Minotaur colors. Find something that I like. I'm not seeing too much that I really like here. It's a shame. Those are some good colors in this range. And I know I've got good colors in here. You know what? I'm not even gonna let's just get back to painting. I'm gonna clean this out. Yeah. So I'm gonna clean this out. I'll just come in and line highlight that. I'll line highlight these troops when I get a chance. They're really good, so that's why they're being painted grayscale. All right. So that's it for airbrush painting. Apologize for the compressor sound there. All right, so the ink wash is done. Now what we're going to do is we are going to come in and give kind of a broad highlight. I mean, almost like an airbrush on these. And I need the light to be a little bit better for this part. So we don't need that. Put that way. Okay. And we're not going to be using this. We're going to be using my Army Painter brush there. And I need a color. So I'm going to use this bone white color here from... Oh, wait, that's too early to use bone white, isn't it? I need to use Iraqi sand first. So we're going to do a really quick and hopefully not too dirty highlight of Iraqi sand. But it's going to be pretty fast. I mean, it's going to be literally like one step. I guess you can call it an overbrush. So I'm going to mix that up. And then similar to a dry brush, we'll get most of it off. And I'm just going to apply it with a little more precision than you would a standard dry brush. Right? So you can see it coming down here. The goal is really just to pick out some of these plates and details and stuff from the body armor. Okay. And doesn't have to be 100% precise, but what you definitely want to avoid is you don't want to run the color so thick that it's filling in all of the nice fine detail in between your armor plates, right? That's what you don't want. You don't want to obscure detail, but you also don't want to dry brush to the point where you're leaving heavy brush strokes. You're really just kind of picking out light and color. I'll lose my tip on this Army Painter brush. I may move over to my Winsor Newton. In fact, I know I will now at this point. It's pretty bad. Just trying to blend it so that it works. Actually, it looks okay. I mean, looks okay so far. Coming in okay. But yeah, let's move over to something that can hold a tip a little bit better. So that would be not that. That would be this guy here. Okay, so we're gonna use a Winsor Newton here. I'm gonna give this a quick overbrush. Again, mainly to pick out detail. So there's that. Trying to paint in all the individual creases and ridges and all that stuff. You could totally do that. Or the pro guys would do something else than what I'm doing. But we're going for effect here, so it should be okay. Okay. I'm pretty good. Fun little overbrush here. You can see on the lower parts of this model where that black ink wash collected. And you don't really want it to pool. So if you need to, if you have pooling, take your brush, dry it off completely. Take a soft brush and then just try to basically pick up or spread out your puddle. To do it while it's still wet. If it's starting to dry, I don't recommend trying to do it because it may be too late at that point. And you definitely want to try to avoid that situation to begin with. So that's why, hyper thin that black wash, really thin it, because you don't want it to leave you with some weird puddle of something after all is said and done. Okay. More work on Achilles here. I'll show you what I'm not. There's not going to be a whole lot of this bone pattern left when I'm done with Achilles, and I'll explain that when I'm painting him. I may actually, if we have time, I may actually turn on the camera tomorrow night just so that you can follow this project along with, because it's definitely not going to be painted tonight, but tomorrow night it's pretty good. I finish most, if not all, of this set here. Okay, so you can see I did just physically go ahead and paint in that thigh pad. Because it's a large area. It's going to capture a lot of light. So, it's going to keep you honest. It'll keep you, applying the sections that you are capable of applying. Oh, pretty good. Pretty good. Mr. Achilles there. He definitely a lot more like ridges and stuff. Very cool model. Okay. Let's move over to the Yudbot. Yudbot's a little easier. He's got actually nice broad areas for you to paint. So that's what I'm going to do. Just nice broad area. So yeah, lately it's been a lot of RK anima tactics in this game, Infinity, and it's been pretty good. There are some changes, some scheduling changes that threaten my Tuesday group, but if that happens, I'll just have to work out a new day to do my gaming or something along those lines. It's pretty good though. The cool mod. I really like this Yudbot. Never realized how cool I thought this model would be. But now, it's a really cool looking model. No doubt. Right? Okay. Okay. Cool. And finally, the net rod. Very simple paint job on these. Just picking out detail. That's it. I mean, there's really nothing else to report here on the robot. Okay. So now we're going to apply an actual highlight on this in the form of our off-white, or sorry, bone white, not off-white. Bone white's going to serve as our actual highlight. And then I can actually go up to pure white if I want to. I might actually do that. We'll see. We'll see. Mix this up. And we'll get going with bone white. Okay. Same highlight strategy as last time, except we're just going to take this up to a little bit the more raised areas of the model. In the case of Achilles here. Basically where you would normally put, you know, if you imagine a light in front and slightly above them, and you think about where that light's going to, that will help decide your route. Unfortunately for Kirito here, sorry, see I slipped. For Achilles here, you're not going to see most of this. And I just let it slip. I'm going to paint him like Kirito from Sword Art Online, specifically the Gun Gale online saga where Kirito is kind of effeminate looking. So that this long Achilles blonde hair is going to be black. And naturally, I'm going to take Atalanta as my Shinon stand-in, or my Shinon character. And rule-wise, they actually line up pretty well with Kirito and Shinon. So, pretty cool. Anyway, let's continue with the highlighting. You can see the detail starting to pop pretty strong on the model. And that black undercoat is what gives us the layers to which we could build up this bone color. So that's nice. Once again, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting, what you should be painting. You can send comments stream, or you can hop on Google Plus. Comment. You could hang out here and wait for I'm sorry. You could tweet me at Plate Painted Twitter. Plate Painted, yeah, at Plate Painted on Twitter. All right. So there, looking pretty good there. Woo. Let's do Machones. Okay. There we go. Pretty good. And I will do one more highlight, and then we'll call it a night. Sorry, we only got about an hour here, but you know, pretty uneventful evening. Just doing a little painting. My son sounds like he's asleep, so that's good. But I'm kind of tired. It's been a long day. Plus, playing UO, super boring, but fun for me. It must be horrible for you, for anybody watching that game. Super boring. Okay. So he's good to go. Let's do the Yidbot. Okay, I'm really liking this Yidbot. I think I'm sold. I think I may have to go pick up the support pack because Yidbots are cool. And I need more of them in my life. I hope they do cool stuff. I don't know. Know nothing about Yidbots. I don't think I can run them with my sectorial. But I do have, you know, the makings of a vanilla Aleph army as well that we can be looking at. Okay. There we go. Finally, this is much needed on this model because you need to be able to smooth out paint jobs for the net rod. You'll ruin a little bit of it with the OSL, but overall it's going to look really, really sharp, I think. I hope you'll be happy with it. Okay. Okay. Oh, no, wait. All right, so final highlight, we're just going to take this all the way up to actual white. Oh, and I want to do a line highlight on these. I don't think white will work there. I think I'm going to have to use a light gray, like US gray or base gray or something. We'll see. All right. So this is just going to be, this white is just going to be the most edge of edge highlights. So I won't be probably any of this on camera, but if I were to take a still, you'd be able to see it. All right. So there's that. And I'm using mostly the side of my brush, not the tip, for this type of edge highlight, because it's you have a little more control, and based on how games are doing loot and bad guys and that kind of stuff, seems unlikely that they would do. Anything too weird? So here comes the highlight. Nice white highlight there. So yeah, if this guy becomes Kirito, all this white I just worked to paint right now, it's gonna go away. It's not that bad, but it's just kind of sad that the time was spent. Let's put it on. It's gonna settle in on a mostly scheme, but who knows? Maybe the model looks really good in that type of black color scheme. We'll see. All right. Okay. What do you think? See if I can get the camera to focus down. Ooh. Coming along. Okay. Now we're gonna do Machon. Actually, he doesn't have a whole lot of hard edges to him. Okay. So a little bit of highlighting. Looks like it's gonna pay off here on Mr. Machon. Now he will actually retain a lot of this bone color. Still not as much as like my actual normal troopers for Aleph or Steel Phalanx, but at least you'll know what faction this guy's from. Cool. Okay, there you go. And Yudbot. Now, when you do this type of fine highlighting, the edge highlights, obviously, you want to keep just the sharp edges. You can see I'm just using the flat end of the brush to do that. Okay. Yeah, that's gonna do it, really. And then the rest of it, then you start doing your lighting colors and your flesh if it's got exposed flesh colors. And then that's it. I mean, there's not much to the scheme itself. It's not, doesn't require too fancy of a setup, but okay. There we go. Show you a close up of this guy. There, he's coming along. All right, and then net rod. For a bit of hard edges here. So you got places, and I like that. Okay. And then just out of right here, I'm going to try something. So here's that camo marker, basically made from a Reaper Bones miniature. So I'm just going to try an edge dry brush. See if I can get kind of a shadowy look to the model. So if it's a little coarse looking, that's okay, because it looks like it's just broken up light. You know? I think it's okay. I think this is working out okay. I'm going to have to switch dry brushes though, because I don't want to waste my Winsor Newton on that type of operation. So I'm going to put that away. We're going to go back to the Reaper. And the Reaper brush will actually handle this. Reaper, actually, you know what? I'm going to show you guys another trick that I do here. It's a little bit different. Instead of using the Reaper brush. Okay. So another thing you can do is use a makeup brush. This is like an Aleph Professional. These cost like 99 cents if you find them at the 99-cent store. And you do your dry brush with this. And the advantage is it's super soft. It will cover really fast. And you don't really need to load it because you're just getting almost no paint on the tip. So do that and give the whole model, a quick dry brush here. It should look pretty cool. Yeah, you can see. I mean, it looks like a shadow to me. And you don't want that edge highlight to be that stark. You want it actually to be a little fuzzy. Okay, so let me show you on this one. Pretty simple stuff, folks. There's no rocket science being divulged tonight. Not that I ever do that on this, but you know what I mean. This is like painting 101. And we're just doing that to give ourselves a rough outline of a miniature. There. You can see it's like a grayscale miniature. So it's a camo marker. And you can see I put it on the right base size, so all you have to do is move it around and treat it like any other model until you choose to reveal it. Then you can replace it with its actual model. Go figure, right? Yeah, these makeup brushes are great dry brushes, by the way. I almost never dry brushed before, but when you do stuff like this is really one of those instances that calls for it. Because I mean, what better way to do a grayscale? Just dry brush over black, or in this case, it's what did I use? Charred stone? I forget. Stone or rock for Minotaur. So rock for Minotaur over black, and then just dry brush white, and this is what you get. Quick, dirty, simple. If I wanted to, I could paint a little lighting effect here on the ground, but I don't. I mean, these are just camo tokens, right? These cost me a couple bucks at the LGS, and I think they're going to look great. I think they look cool as camo tokens, and you can, move them around like that. You can even designate them A, B, or C. if you're running multiple in the same game. So yeah, that's it. That's just my little generic trick. Just use one of these old makeup brushes. Buy the cheapest one you can find. Now they might originally, while you're cleaning them, they might shed a little bit on the end, but once you get rid of the initial shedding, they're actually pretty good. So there you go. You can use like this for bigger models too. So I use other makeup brushes for stuff like that. And it's pretty cool. Let me load up some YouTube comments here and see if anybody had anything to say. Ooh. Ooh. What comments? Oops. All right. No comments. Okay. So pretty relaxed evening, guys. Yeah. So, if we actually had started at the proper time, probably could have finished something, but, well, I don't know. We're not going to call that actual painting because it's not. It's just, you just do this to a marker and there you go, camo marker, right? And moving around there. But they're done. I can, with all 2 layers of paint on them, I can seal them up and they're fine. But yeah, the focus was to get us to this point on Achilles. So yeah, I like that bone scheme. It's so cool. So come in and I start painting in the black and the other colors on this. It should pop really nicely. And it's, and I was able, through the wash, help collect some of that fine detail in individual armor plates. I don't know. It looks cool, man. I love it. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna call it, guys. And it's really getting a little late and I'm tired and I've got a long day ahead of me tomorrow. I might actually do a broadcast tomorrow night just to show you how this guy ends up. But until then, we're going to call it. I want to thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.